So there was just a handful of CD versions. But crucially, for some reason, we have listed an Indonesian cassette version of Tangled.
Hello VC, Plastic Eric here, Plastic Soundwave Cult, here for another edition of Collection Connection, the game that's just an excuse to talk about music. It's a game that I play with my brother Bryce over on Good Show Ponsonby. I do my pick every Monday, he does his pick every Thursday, and we make a connection between each one, and we've been doing this chain now for almost 2 years now. And we just had our 200th one. Our 201st one was the one that he did. So this is 202 connections. The last thing that my brother showed, you can look up here, was Nick Hayward, The Apple Bed. I haven't got a chance to listen to it yet. I've been doing a lot of Christmas shit. But I'll probably be listening to it while I'm editing the video together. But I don't know Nick Hayward, his solo stuff that well, but I do know his Haircut 100 stuff. Thought it was great. And the interesting thing about Haircut 100 is he was only on the first album. Well, there's another famous artist, though he did appear slightly on the second album, I think with one song. But for the most part, he wasn't on most of that record. But he was on the first one before he was fired. And I think y'all probably are figuring out who this is already. Syd Barrett. These are the BBC, the Radio 1 sessions. Famously started off in Pink Floyd. Got a little bit into some LSD. And, well, not a little bit. He pretty much dove headfirst into it. And with that, he started to lose his mind, basically. They said he turned into a completely different person after he had his one lost weekend where they couldn't find him. And it didn't take long after that he wouldn't show up for shows. They hired actually Syd Barrett's old school friend, Dave Gilmour, in Pink Floyd, to cover in case Syd wouldn't be there. And it got to a point where Dave Gilmour would play and Syd would just kind of roam around the stage. So then eventually they fired him and booted him out of the band. I think famously they went to go pick him up and decided, let's not pick up Syd, and they didn't, and went ahead and did the show anyways. I was reading that one of the other band members who lived with him at the time would say, I'm going to go out for a pack of smokes, go do a show, come back, and Syd Barrett would still be in the same position he was when he got back. Was completely unaware that he'd even left. Syd Barrett's mental state, basically he became a hermit. He moved back to Cambridge, England, and I believe he lived out basically the rest of his life there, as a hermit. And so I remember a friend of mine years ago telling me about this guy. When I first heard about him, I didn't even realize he was in Pink Floyd. And it ended up being that he was telling me about how this lady finally got an interview with Syd Barrett. She had cornered him and said, can I do an interview with you? And so he says, come to my house and I'll do the interview. So she's all excited. This is going to be the first interview that he's done in decades. And she goes to his house, knocks on the door. He opens up the door and he says, I just want to let you know I'm just fine. And then shut the door in her face. So A lot of interesting stories about this guy. I know a lot of Pink Floyd guys that consider that first album really the only true Pink Floyd album. I know a lot of other people that like their whole, discography, and the guys who think of Sid Barrett still like Pink Floyd, but that first album, Pipers at the Gates of Dawn, is what they consider really only a true album. Not that I'm saying that, but I've known people over the years who have felt that way, which is funny because I had a boss when I worked in Yosemite National Park who loved Pink Floyd and loved it all, and that's pretty much all you would ever hear if you ever hung out um, at his cabin. And so I think it was years later that when Pink Floyd was doing "Wish You Were Here," it ended up being that Sid Barrett showed up for that, but they didn't recognize him. They asked who he was when they could see him in the studio, but they asked who it was, and they said, "Oh, that's Sid," and they couldn't believe it was him. And so yeah, so he basically went from looking like this to looking more like this, and again, he became more and more. Uh, so, I want to say hermit, but not solidarity, but he reveled in his own solace, I guess. And so this here is an EP of the stuff that he did, his solo stuff that he did for his for BBC One. This one here is a little bit different. I'm not sure if it says unofficial issue on Discogs, but there is a version of it that's just called Peel Sessions. This one, he does some Peel Sessions, but he does it with another producer as well. And I am way over my time. Hopefully I got the songs put in here like over this way. And yeah, it's actually a good album. It's pretty good. I like his music. It's very childlike in a sense, but still trippy at the same time. Does that make any sense? I feel like a lot of psychedelia will play into their childhood memories and stuff like that, and maybe that's what makes it so psychedelic. I don't know. But again, I'm way over my time. This is gonna be a long video. Thanks for watching, and it ain't just about the music. Bye.